Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience, and this is my part 2 of my best headphones of the year video. And this part is headphones over $1,000. Yesterday I did the first part of this video, and that was headphones up to $1,000. And if you watch that, you'll know that my number one pick, favorite headphone under $1,000 this year was the Hi-Fi Man Ananda Stealth version. And in case you haven't seen my last couple videos, I just wanted to let you know I'm having a little trouble speaking. I was hit 19 days ago with a bad case of Bell's palsy and lost all the muscle control in the right side of my face. So I had to take a couple weeks off, and I haven't really recovered yet. I haven't gained any movement or anything, but I had to take a couple weeks off because it was very hard to speak at first, and I was slurring my words quite a bit, and I still feel I am, and I'm still feeling a little insecure about the way I speak and about the way I look. The right side of my face is drooping real bad. So I'm doing a little bit different layout here where I'm a little further from the camera, not so close up. And so anyway, this is the way I did my video, my first half of this video yesterday. I wanted to thank you all for all your support and your kind comments and your wishes and your prayers and all that, and your encouragement, because I probably wouldn't be back doing videos yet if it wasn't for the encouragement from my audience and my supporters. So anyway, I wanted to get into this video, and this is my picks for the best headphones that I've reviewed. And I want to stress that point, that I'm not saying these are necessarily the best headphones in the world at each price group, because I've only heard a limited number of headphones. I've been doing this for about 4.5 years now, and I think I've reviewed about 40 pairs of headphones and maybe 20 something amps and maybe a dozen DACs. And that will be, after I do this, that's what I'll work on next. My next video will be the best headphone amps of the year, and then the one after that will be the best DACs and accessories. And I'm sorry these are coming out late. I was ready to shoot this video the night I got hit by Bell's palsy and had to put everything on hold. So anyway, getting into my video, well, I just wanted to finish saying that my picks are based on what I have reviewed. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a headphone because I've heard from other reviewers or other people that it's a great headphone. So this is based entirely on what I've reviewed, and I review what is sent to me on loan for review. And there's a lot of companies out there that I'm sure have great headphones that I've never heard yet because they haven't offered to loan me anything for reviews. So you probably noticed if you watch my under 1,000 video that I did yesterday, it was kind of a Hi-Fi Man sweep. They took a lot of the awards, but Hi-Fi Man's been sending me a lot of headphones to review, and a lot of other big companies haven't sent me anything. So I guess this is kind of a message to the other companies out there that if you want your headphones, if you think they're good enough to stand up against Hi-Fi Man, feel free to send me, a headphone or two on loan, and I'll review it, and maybe that'll be my pick next year. So anyway, getting into my review, I'm going to start out at the $1,000 to $1,500 category. And my first pick in that category, once again, is a Hi-Fi Man, but I promise you Hi-Fi Man's not going to sweep this entire video again. But at this category, $1,000 to $1,500, my number one pick is the Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth that I reviewed probably about a year ago. And it sells for $1,299. It was $1,599, but the price has come down. And I have one here, right here, I can show you. Still have this, and this, in my opinion, is just a fantastic all-around headphone. I reviewed the original Aria, the first version, and really liked it a lot. And I didn't have them both at the same time to compare them directly, but from what I can remember and based on my comparisons to some other headphones that I still have, the Stealth version has better bass extension, has more slam in the mid bass, and the biggest improvement, in my opinion, it has a warmer, richer mid-range. And what I could say about this headphone is, in my opinion, it has a pretty much perfect tone balance. It is extremely clean, clear, and detailed. And the only flaw I have with this headphone is that compared to the first version, it lost a little bit of soundstage width, but it seems like over time, and I don't really believe in burn-in, but it seems like over time that the soundstage has gotten a little wider and a little more expansive on this. And I'm not basing that on memory, I'm basing that on comparing this to other headphones, and it just seems like the soundstage has widened up a bit from when I first got this headphone. So anyway, otherwise this headphone is pretty much flawless, and I know that, a lot of you still have a problem with Hi-Fi Man and their reputation, but I've had 11 Hi-Fi Man headphones now and haven't had any failures other than a cable, which was replaced within a week by Hi-Fi Man. All I had to do is notify their customer service. A week later, it was here in the mail for free. So anyway, my number one pick, $1,000 to $1,500 category, is the Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth. Okay, I've got a couple of honorable mentions in this category, a couple of headphones that I really do like. One would be the LSA HP1, which was made by Kennerton for LSA. It sells for $1,299. It's an open back planar magnetic, and it's a basically neutral sound, but it uses a standard Kennerton ear pads, and by changing the ear pads you can change the sound to Kennerton made headphones quite a bit. You can, depending on which pad you use, you can go from neutral to pretty warm and bassy with the same headphones. So anyway, at that time some of the warmer some of the ear pads that sounded warmer weren't available when I reviewed the HP1 originally, but now they are. But anyway, just very clean, very detailed, nice, beautiful wooden cups, and a really nice headphone that I really hated to send back. Unfortunately, I don't have that to show you right now. Another headphone in that price category is the Untitled Mania, which is a dynamic driver. It's a pretty large headphone. It's I would say a little on the warm and bassy side of neutral. Very, very clean sound, and it's a headphone I really enjoyed, and in fact, I thought it sounded a lot, it reminded me of the Mesa Empyrean at just a little over a third the price, and just a headphone I really enjoyed listening to, and that's the Untitled Mania. And like I said, currently the price is 1,199 euros, which at today's exchange rate works out to 1,301 US dollars. Okay, I'm going to jump up to the next category, and that would be $1,500 to $2,000. And I'm going to give my number one spot to the LSA HP Diamond. And that's a headphone I reviewed probably about a year and a half ago. It currently sells for $1,999. And once again, that was manufactured for LSA by Kennerton. And it was roughly based, I think it used the same planar magnetic drivers as the Kennerton Odin, but it has quite a bit different sound than the Odin. Actually, I thought it sounded more similar to the Kennerton Woden. But anyway, it's a very neutral sound. Doesn't really have much emphasis to the bass or anything. Just real well balanced. If you're looking for a neutral headphone, if you're not a bass head, it's very, very neutral, but it has a slightly warm mid-range to it, and that's what I really enjoyed about that headphone. Had a beautiful mid-range, a little bit on the warm, richer side of neutral, with but outstanding clarity and detail. And I remember female vocals sounding outstanding on that headphone. In that same category, I've got a pick for those of you that are bass heads. That would be the Spirit Torino Super Leggera, and that sells for $1,650. And it's a dynamic driver open back, but it was a big surprise to me. That headphone has incredible bass. Not only a huge amount of bass, but good sub-bass extension, and the bass is tight and well controlled. And if you are a bass head, I'm sure you will love that headphone. It's pretty small, it's pretty light and comfortable, and once again, the Spirit Torino Super Leggera that retails at $1,650. Okay, jumping up to the next category, $2,000 to $2,500. I couldn't decide on a winner in this category. There were two headphones that I really, really like, and they both fell into that price, and I just couldn't decide, so I'm going to call this one a tie. Okay, the first of the two is the ZMF Verite Openback, which I reviewed about a year and a half ago. I don't have that with me here to show you. It was loaned and by actually one of my subscribers, and he was nice enough to send it to me, and I had it for a couple of months. I really enjoyed it. I think that may have been the hardest headphone ever to send back. But anyway, that currently sells at $24.99. I think it goes above that price if you get it with more exotic woods. I think the one that I had was burl or something like that, and it went for about $2,700. But anyway, the headphone starts at $24.99, which puts it in this category. And it's just a beautiful headphone to listen to. First of all, it's beautiful to look at, machined out of a solid piece of wood. It has a warm, very rich, lush, mid-range, a little bit of bass emphasis. It has good bass extension. It has kind of a strange soundstage. It took me a little bit of time to get used to. The soundstage wasn't super wide, but it had incredible depth, and not only went out in front of me, but it actually went behind me. It's the only headphone that I've reviewed so far that I hear sounds behind me. And I would listen to that, and it was like I was right in the middle of the music, with music coming from all around my head. And once I got used to that soundstage, it was addictive. I really, really liked listening to that headphone. It wasn't the absolute last word in detail. It wasn't technically perfect, but it was a headphone that I just loved listening to. I just wanted to listen to it for hours on end. It's a little large, a little heavy, but it's still one of my favorites of everything I reviewed. Okay, I said this was a tie, and the headphone that tied with is a Kennerton Odin, and I wouldn't have included that in this list because it kind of disappeared for a couple of years. I believe it was went out of production, but I was looking at the Kennerton website recently, and they have the Odin back on the sale page, and you can buy it, and it's currently priced at $2,150 in US dollars, and I guess the exchange rate is pretty good with Russia right now, because some of the Kennerton prices have come down quite a bit. So anyway, Kennerton Odin open back. Oh, I do have that here. I can show that to you. Right here. It is a open back, planar magnetic, and this is the 2019 version of it. And it has one drawback. It is very heavy. This is, I think, a 600-gram headphone. It's one of the heaviest headphones that I've reviewed, but it has a warm, bassy, very rich, very liquid, very lush sound, and I just love listening to this headphone. I can listen to this headphone for hours. The weight may bother some people, but it never really bothered me. Heavy headphones haven't been a problem for me. What's more of a problem is headphones that have too much clamping force, because I've had a issue with TMJ in my jaw right over here, and too much clamping force can aggravate that. But weight has never really bothered me. I've got a pretty thick neck. So, but this is just always one of my favorite headphones, and if I'm just sitting down to listen and just for the enjoyment of it, this is one of my primary headphones that I will pull out and just listen to music. It's one of those headphones that just makes pretty much everything sound good, even less than perfect recordings, and even, you know, just about any kind of music sounds great on these. So one of my favorite headphones. In this category, I have a couple of other honorable mentions that I wanted to let you know. One is also by Kennerton, and that's the Kennerton Woden that currently sells for $2,222 US dollars. It has a different sound from the Odin. The Woden is, I can show you that too. The Woden, once again, carved out of a solid piece of wood, but this one is unique because it actually has a wooden grill. And this headphone is more very neutral. Pretty much flat frequency response all the way through, exceptional detail, and a very large, very wide sound stage with excellent imaging. And this one is quite a bit lighter. So this is, didn't win the category, but honorable mention in the 2,000 to 2,500 price category. And then another headphone that gets an honorable mention in this category would be the Urzetish Phobos, and that currently sells for $2,169 US dollars, or 1,999 euros. It's a headphone I reviewed probably 3 years ago now, but I really, really like the sound of that headphone. It's large. It's probably the heaviest headphone I've ever reviewed, but it was surprisingly comfortable, even though it was so big and heavy. It really was a comfortable headphone. What really stood out about that was the soundstage. Had a huge soundstage, probably the largest soundstage of any headphone that I've reviewed so far, and that's like 40-something headphones. It had the width of the original Hi-Fi Man Aria, but with more depth, just more front to back. Huge soundstage, basically neutral frequency response, but with a little bit of emphasis in the bass and pretty good sub-bass extension. Headphone that I really enjoyed. And then in that same price category, I want to give the award for the best closed back headphone to the Spirit Torino Radiante, which currently sells for $2,250, and that is a closed back dynamic driver headphone that has incredible bass. I actually had a EQ the bass down a little bit. It was too much for me, but if you're a bass head, you are going to love that headphone. It's comfortable, it's pretty easy to drive, and like I said, just very strong, punchy bass, but yet tight and controlled bass. And once again, Spirit Torino Radiante. And then my bass head award in that price range also goes to that same headphone. The Spirit Torino Radiante. My brain is getting ahead of trying to speak faster than my physical ability right now, so I kind of have to slow down. But anyway, so that headphone gets closed back of the year and bass head in the price range of $2,000 to $2,500. Okay, jumping up to the $2,500 to $3,000 price range. My winner in that is the ZMF Atrium, and I do have that here. Kind of a long-term loan, still have that here to listen to and use it for comparisons. And anyway, reviewed this, I guess it was earlier this summer when it came out, and this is a headphone I absolutely love. This headphone actually starts at $24.99, which puts it in the price category below this one, but this particular model, the one I have, this is cherry wood and copper grills, which puts this one up to $2,700. That's why because I could show you this headphone, I put it in this price category. Excuse me, just a second. I have to drink out of a squeeze bottle right now or a spill. So anyway, this headphone, there's pretty much nothing I can complain about with this headphone. It is slightly large, it is slightly heavy, but I love the headband, the adjustment, the ear pads. It's very, very comfortable, and I could wear this for hours. It's relatively easy to drive. It is a 300 ohm headphone, and it matches up extremely well with OTL Type 2 amps, and I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, this headphone, I would describe it as a little on the warm, rich, and bassy side of neutral. Has good extension, good solid bass, beautiful, possibly the best, smoothest, most liquid mid-range that I've heard. That's what really stands out about this headphone. Not the absolute last detail or last word in detail, but very good detail and clarity, and has a very large, very three-dimensional soundstage. Really not only good width, but really good depth to the soundstage. If you've heard this headphone, you know it's good, but if you have only heard this on a solid state amp, you don't know what you're missing. This thing, when you put this on an OTL Type 2 amp, that really brings out the sound in this headphone. And either of these, the Echo by Felix Audio or this headphone amp that I just got in recently, I've only done a first impression of it, not a full review, the Felix Audio Elise. This headphone on that amp is absolutely incredible. It just sounds so good. They just synergize together so well. Another amp that this sounds really good on is down at the end there. The red amp there, that's the OTL tube amp from Waveborn. It's called the Preamp Plus. That's another amp that this just sounds outstanding. It also on this second Waveborn, which is a transformer coupled. Basically any tube amp, but on an OTL tube amp, this really makes this headphone shine. And I hooked this up. I've been, because this is a new amp that just came in, I've had spent a lot of time listening to this lately with the Felix Audio Elise, and I just want to listen to it forever. I can hardly force myself to put the headphones down and go to bed at night. I just want to listen to everything I have. It just makes everything sound so good. So, synergy is a big thing. You might listen to a headphone and not be crazy about it with one amp, but another amp might really bring out the best of the headphone. And right there, this combined with the Felix Audio just sounds incredible. So anyway, I had a honorable mention in this category, and that would be the Meza Empyrean, and that sells for currently at $2,999. I reviewed that. It's probably been 2.5, 3 years ago now. I really enjoyed that headphone. I didn't find it technically perfect. I thought that it lacked a little bit of fine detail for a $3,000 headphone, but it had a nice, warm, rich, very liquid sound, and was very, very pleasant to listen to. Very low fatigue. It was probably the most comfortable headphone I've ever worn. The build quality was outstanding, and I might not have appreciated that as much at the time as I would now. Now I'm kind of leaning towards warmer, richer mid-range, where back then I was looking for every last detail. So I would probably appreciate that headphone more now than I did at the time. I really liked it at the time, really enjoyed listening to it. But compared to a few other headphones in the same price range, I thought it lacked a little bit of detail. And but like I said, now that I have more of an appreciation for warmth and richness, I think that it might be one of my favorite headphones if I had the chance to listen to it now. Okay, my final category is over $3,000, and I'm basically breaking that up into 3 subcategories. One would be open back, and my open back pick for headphone over $3,000 would be the Kennerton Thrower, and I've had this quite a while. I like this headphone so much that I ended up buying it, and I've had this for like 3 years now, and this has pretty much been my reference headphone to compare others to. It's a planar magnetic design. It's the cups are solid pieces of wood. This one happens to be a Zebrano wood, leather, lambskin leather on the pads and headband, and even the strap underneath. Very comfortable, average weight, and just incredible sound in my opinion. This is one of the most detailed headphones I've heard, and has it doesn't go extremely deep into the sub bass, but it has good sub bass, and it's not a bass head headphone. This is a pretty much neutral headphone, but you can get more bass out of it by switching the ear pads. And right now I'm using the Kennerton ECL03 memory foam pads, which I believe improved this significantly, but which really, really stands out about this headphone is just a really beautiful, rich, creamy mid-range, but yet exceptional detail at the same time. And also, I think this headphone probably has the most depth to the soundstage, and I'm talking about out front depth of any headphone I've heard. And just I don't think I've heard a headphone that I feel is better than this. I would still probably consider this my favorite headphone of all the headphones I've ever heard. This is probably my #1 favorite. Okay, close back in the over $3,000 price range. This is a headphone I reviewed about 1 year ago, and this is the Kennerton Ragnar, and this is a planar magnetic version. There's also a dynamic version that I think sells for about $1,400 or $1,500, but this is the planar version, and the current price on this is $3,250. And that's for most of the different woods that are available, but this one here happens to be stabilized Carillion birch. And this one is, I think, a $400 upgrade. So this headphone here would currently sell at $3,650. I think it uses the same drivers as the Kennerton thrower that I just showed you, but it is a full closed back design. It has excellent isolation. Very little noise gets in and almost no music gets out of it. And for a closed back, it has an exceptionally wide sound stage. This actually has a sound stage as large as almost any open back headphone. It's not the absolute widest, but it's exceptional for a closed back. I mean, listening to this, I forget that it's a closed back. The sound stage is so wide on this, and some of the strong points of this headphone has the best bass extension and cleanest, tightest sub bass of any headphone I've ever heard. Just absolutely outstanding sub bass. And the other strong point of this headphone is the imaging. This has the most precise, most pinpoint imaging of any headphone I've heard. And just another headphone I just absolutely love. Once again, you can change the sound quite a bit with different ear pads. The ECL01 ear pads give it a very neutral sound, and the ECL03 memory foam that I have on it right now give it a richer, deeper, bassier sound. And like I said, even with the other ear pads, it still has good sub bass, but has the best sub bass I've ever heard with these ear pads. And but you don't lose the mid-range or treble. It's still there, very clean, very detailed. This also is one of the most detailed headphones I've ever heard. I mean, this thing is up there with, like, in hi-fi, man, ARIA, stealth region of detail, but with much better sub bass, and you know, just a great headphone. So anyway, I have one more pick in the over 3,000 range, and that would be for bass heads. But you know, at this price range, we're talking audiophile bass heads. We're talking someone that wants extreme detail, but wants some really solid, punchy bass. And excuse me, the headphone I just showed you, the Kennerton Ragnar, would probably make most bass heads happy with the right ear pads on it, but the headphone that is a extremely detailed headphone, but yet has outstanding bass, I mean huge weight to the bass and good control, is once again a Spirit Torino, and this would be the Twin Pulse Ragnar version. And I reviewed that about 3 years ago, and it was actually a special edition called the 1706, which had a custom paint job on it. The ear cups are actually made of aluminum on that. But anyway, that headphone, that version of it, sells for $3,950, and I think there's without the 1706 special edition, I think it drops $200, and then the regular Twin Pulse, not the Ragnar version, I think goes for about $500 less, like $3,200. But anyway, just a headphone that would make any bass head happy, yet extreme clarity and detail, a true audiophile headphone, but for bass heads. So, okay, that wraps up my picks. That I haven't reviewed anything over $4,000 yet. Maybe that'll happen in the future. But I do have 2 more awards to give out. One, most bang for the buck headphone over $1,000, that award is going to the Hi-Fi Man Aria Stealth. At $1,299, that headphone, I'm not saying it beats out some of these more expensive headphones, but it can hold its own against any of them. And in my opinion, it's an almost perfect headphone. And at $1,299, I think it's a step above everything else at that price range. Even though there are some very good other headphones at that price, the Aria Stealth to me sounds like it should be twice the price. It's just a very good headphone for the price. So most bang for the buck, Aria Stealth at $12.99. My Headphone of the Year award. And I decided I had some trouble with this one. I tossed it back and forth for a while. But I think I'm going to name the ZMF Atrium as my Headphone of the Year this year. The reason why is it's just so enjoyable to listen to. It makes everything I have, every recording I have, sound good. Doesn't matter if it's a perfect recording, a less than perfect recording. Doesn't matter what type of music it is. It doesn't matter if it's rock, if it's pop, if it's jazz, if it's electronic. Everything sounds good on that headphone. Then if I plug it into a good OTL tube amp, it just gets even better. And in fact, the absolute best is take that headphone, ZMF Atrium, hook it up to a good OTL tube amp, and then use an R2R DAC, which I feel are more three-dimensional than the Delta Sigma DACs. And it's just an incredible three-dimensional, the sound stage, I just feel immersed in it. I just feel surrounded by music. And that's just a headphone that I can sit and listen to for hours. Like I said, it's a little on the large side, it's a little on the heavy side, but it's very comfortable. And it's just probably, once again, if I'm picking a headphone just to listen to for enjoyment, not doing a review, just something I want to listen to relax before I go to bed or whatever. It's not the absolute last word in detail, but it just sounds so nice, so pleasant. It's just so enjoyable, and like I said, works with everything, makes everything sound good. So my Headphone of the Year award this year is going to the ZMF Atrium. And that about wraps up this review. My next video is going to be my favorite headphone amps of the year, and then after that, my favorite DACs and accessories of the year. So hope you'll take the time to watch my videos, and I thank you for watching this video, and I thank you for support over the year and over the 4 years, and I thank you for tolerating my videos right now. Like I said, I'm having a hard time speaking. I'm getting pretty worn out. And I know I don't look real pretty right now, but anyway, I appreciate my fans that have stuck with me, and I decided to not wait till I recovered from the Bell's palsy that I needed to do some videos, because I had probably 30, 40 of my subscribers tell me that you know, they didn't mind, that they could understand what I was saying, and they wanted me to continue doing the videos, and I was really missing it. So anyway, I'm doing the best I can. So hope to be back with another video soon, and thanks for watching this video.